Hello Iglefree, how are you? In this video inshallah we are going to revise the food chain topic. This lesson objective or this lesson success criteria, or by the end of this lesson you should be able to know the uses of food chain to discuss feeding, relationship and energy flow. Now let's watch a sample presentation about the food chain and what we will understand from this.
A food chain shows how living organisms depend on each other to get their food.
Exactly. The food chain is something we can find in each habitat. In each habitat we find the food chain between different living organisms in this habitat, and it shows us how the different living organisms depend on each other to find their own energy and their own food.
We find three things in any habitat: plants, animals that eat these plants, animals that eat other animals.
Exactly. In each habitat we find plants, and plants make their own energy and make their own food through a process, as we said, it's called photosynthesis process. Animal that eat this plant, a herbivore animal that come and eat this plant. Another animal that eat this animal, maybe carnivore or omnivore animal, come and eat this animal. And this is a very simple example for a simple food chain. Carrot, which is a plant, make its own food, eaten by a rabbit, which is a herbivore animal, and the eagle eat the rabbit.
Most food chains start with green plants, which are called producers, because they produce their own food.
Exactly. Most food chains start with the plant. Why it start with the plant? It start with the plant because the plant can make its own food. It doesn't need another animal to eat it or another plant to eat it to get energy. It makes its own food, and we call them producers, as they produce their own food. Any plant in the food chain we call it producer. Any food chain in this world must start with plant.
Animals are called consumers because they consume, eat, plants or other animals.
Exactly. We call the animals consumer. Why we call the animal consumers? Because they consume other animals or plants, and consume mean eat. Plants or other animals to get energy or to get food. Like the rabbit is an animal, it's a consumer as it eat carrot. Tortoise is a consumer as it eat grass. Frog is a consumer as it eat flies. Fox is a consumer as it eat rabbit. Any animal in the food chain we call it consumer, as it consume another animal or a plant to get energy or
plants are food for deers. Deers are food for tigers.
Let's see different examples for different food chain. So plants eaten by deer, and deer is eaten by tiger. Food chain start with a producer and end with two consumers. Here we have two consumer and one producer. Let's know another information. The poor animal that's eaten by the wild animal we call it prey. So the deer is the prey of the tiger, and the tiger is the predator of the prey. Prey and predator. The predator is the wild animal that eat its prey, and the prey is the poor animal that eaten by the predator. Let's see another food chain.
Grains are food for mice. Mice are food for owls.
Grains, a kind of plant, food for mice, and mouse is food for owl.
Grass is food for zebras. Zebras are food for lions.
Exactly. Grass are food for zebras, producer, consumer and consumer. Prey and predator. Zebra is food for lion. We have two consumers here. Any animal in the food chain we call it consumer, while plants we call them producers.
Lettuce is food for snails. Snails are food for pigeons. Pigeons are food for eagles.
In this food chain we have three consumers and one producer. As lettuce is a plant, so it's a producer as it makes its own food. Lettuce is eaten by snail, and snail is eaten by pigeon. Pigeon is eaten by eagle. Three consumers.
Leaves are food for worms. Worms are food for birds. Birds are food for cats.
Exactly. Leaf eaten by the worm. Worm is eaten by the bird. Bird is eaten by the cat. If I say, what is the prey of the bird? What is the prey of the bird? Worm. What is the predator of the worm? Bird. What is the predator of the bird? Cat. Cat is the predator, is a wild animal that eat the bird. We have 3 consumers here. Let's answer this.
Deers
activity.
are food for.
Deers are food for.
Good job!
Most food chains start with green plants, which are called.
Producers. We said all of the plants are called producers.
Great! Grass is food for.
Grass is food for lion or zebra.
Good job! Put in the right order.
We have to order this food chain, and we said any food chain start with the plant. Caterpillar eat this plant. Bird eat the caterpillar. Cat eat the bird.
Excellent!
3 consumers and 1 producer.
Plants are food for.
Bird, deer, eagle, deer.
Well done! In any habitat, we find.
In any habitat we find animal that eat this plant, plant that eat animal, animal that eat other plant, or animal that eat animals and plant, or plant that eat other animal. There must be animal that eat animals and plant.
Leaves are food for.
Leaves are food for cats? No. Tigers? No. Worms?
Thank you!
Type the right word.
Animals are called consumer because they consume or other. They consume plants or other animals.
Worms are food for.
Birds.
Excellent!
Put in the right order.
Okay, we start with
Wrong.
which is like this. Then a snail come to eat the plant. Then pigeon eat the snail, and eagle eat the
Good job! Grains are food for.
mouse.
Good job!
We did not know, but there is a problem in the game. Let's answer some sheet then. The sheet which we took in the class. Have a look at these 2 food chains and then answer the question. Food chain A and food chain B. Food chain A starts with lettuce eaten by a slug and the slug eaten by bird. Food chain B, grass eaten by rabbit and rabbit eaten by fox. What animal do fox eat? What animals do fox eat? Fox eat rabbit. What animal eats lettuce? Slug. For both food chains, name a habitat in which they would occur. We must write the name of the habitat at which we can find food chain A and at which we can find food chain B. Food chain A, we can find it in the tree. Lettuce can grow by the tree, and slug can live in the tree, and bird can be there. Food chain B, grass, rabbit, and fox. We can find it in the forest, as the fox live in the forest. What kind of organisms is the start of both food chain? Plant. We start the both food chain with a plant. This food chain can easily be found in your local area. Leaf eaten by the worm, and worm eaten by the bird, and bird eaten by cat. Fill the missing words in these sentences. The is the producer in this food chain. We have only one producer, which is the plant. The leaf is the producer. There are 3 consumers in the food chain. The 3 animals: worm, bird, and cat. The bird is the prey of. The bird is the prey of. Which animal is the wild animal that eat the bird? The cat. Great. The bird is the prey of the cat. The is the predator of the worm. Which animal is the predator, the wild animal that eat the worm? Bird. Excellent. Let's answer another sheet. A food chain show which animal eat which other animal or plant. Plants don't eat things. A food chain starts with what get eaten, and the arrows point toward what does the eating. Got it? Remember, the food chain only goes in one direction. Fill the arrows. You have to fill the arrows. Lettuce eaten by slug, and then slug eaten by frog, and the frog eaten by the heron. This is one food chain. The other one is soil. We can draw a plant in the soil. This plant eaten by the worm, worm eaten by blackbird, blackbird eaten by hawk. Here is a food chain with the organisms in the wrong order. Write their names in the right order in the space between the arrows. We must start with the leaf. And who eat the leaf? The beetle eat the leaf, and mouse eat the beetle, and owl eat the mouse. So leaf, beetle, mouse, owl. Most food chains start with green plant. Fill the first organisms in this food chain. The caterpillar might give you a clue. Can you see the caterpillar is eating a leaf? So leaf. Here are some food chain. What do the beginning of this food chain have in common? The first start with a river plant, grass and trees. The beginning of these food chain are all plants. Let's move to some other sheet. The pictures show some living things found in the sea. Plankton, fish, penguin and seal. Remember that plankton is a kind of plant that grow in the sea. Draw arrows between the picture to make food chain. Plankton eaten by fish, then fish eaten by penguin, then penguin eaten by seal. So the arrow is from the plankton to the fish, then from the fish to the penguin, then from the penguin to the seal. Name one producer in this food chain. We said the producer is the plant, so it's gonna be the plankton. Name one predator in this food chain. It can be penguin or seal. The wild animal that eat other animals. The penguin eat the fish. Penguin is the predator of the fish, and seal is the predator of the penguin. Name the two consumers in this food chain. Can be seal, penguin, penguin and fish, seal and fish, because those three animals are consumers, as we call any animal in the food chain a consumer. Use these words to complete the sentence. You must only use a word once. Consumer, environment, habitat, predator, prey and producer. Food chain always start with a producer. An animal that eat another animal is called a predator. An animal that is eaten by other animal is called prey. An animal that eats something else in the food chain is called a consumer. Here, look at the food chain shows here. Leaf eaten by slug, slug eaten by bird, bird eaten by cat. How many consumers are there? 3 consumers: cat, bird and slug. Any animal in the food chain is a consumer. Name the predator of the bird. The predator, the animals that eat the bird. Cat. Name the producer. Plant, which is the leaf. Name the prey of the bird. The prey of the bird, the poor animals that the bird eat it. Slug. Oak leaves eaten by caterpillar. Caterpillar eaten by blue tit. What does this food chain tell you? Take one box, only one. Caterpillars are food for blue tit. Blue tits eat oak leaves? No. Caterpillar eat blue tit? No. Oak leaf changes to caterpillar? No. So its caterpillars are food for blue tits. The oak tree is made of different parts. Draw 3 lines to each part to the reason it's important. flower, make seeds, leaf, make food, root takes in water. A tree needs water and minerals for healthy growth. Minerals and nutrients. Tree need water, minerals and nutrients from the soil for healthy growth. Name one other thing tree need for healthy growth. Sunlight, worms, which mean warm temperature. Carbon dioxide, can be any one of those. So now we understand how to use the food chain to discuss the feeding relationship and energy flow. There is a video, Mr. Beanock's video, you can watch it for more understanding. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any problem in understanding the topic, don't feel shy to come and ask. Thank you so much for watching the video and hope you understand it. Bye bye.